you hear me?
Yes, you please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. Respected Professor Dr. M. Suresh Benjamin, Professor Dr. Dasharath, Dr. Upankar Chutia. I also see on the list the Secretariat led by Mr. Sayed Kudrat Hashimi. Greetings from the United Republic of Tanzania in the eastern part of Africa. Right now it is 12:30. It is noon time. I know you are ahead by 2.5 hours. So it is a good afternoon from East Africa. It is quite a pleasure for me to be part of this program. The program very well planned and executed by the Department of Studies in Law, University of Mysore. It is quite an honor to be part of the guests of honor for this particular program and to speak a little bit on intellectual property and poverty. Miss Sarah made an introduction which is mostly focused on what I've written on my curriculum vitae, but I normally prefer to add a little bit and to create a nexus, a connection between my speech and the work that I'm doing or the work that I've done. And in connection with this particular webinar, let me add by just saying a few words. One, I've been researching intellectual properties since 2015, that I recall. I studied it as a course then, but my research officially started in 2015. I was actually engaged in an international course on intellectual property, and we had a focus on IPR, but this time it was in the context of the relevancy to small and micro medium enterprises. That is what we did. So we did a research project then, and since then I've been part of studies that are involving IPR, and I've also been teaching this course for the last maybe 7 or 8 years, not at the institution that I'm currently engaged with, but as a part-time lecturer in one of the two of the institutions that are around where I am. So I'm comfortable that I can say or I can share some of the insights regarding intellectual property rights and poverty. Number two, I've also been a researcher, and this is the latest development. After I left India, I did my research in India, my PhD research at the University of Mysore. So I was a regular, full-time researcher at the Menas Gangotri campus. So immediately after I left India, I found that I was pertinently, and I was this time introduced to the area of sustainable development goals. And I was particularly interested with studies that are involving the connection between law and sustainable development. So we linked sustainable development cooperatives. That is what we've been doing since then. But I was also able to try to create the nexus between intellectual property rights and the sustainable development goal as part of my work, as part of my research. So that is the second scenario that adds to the CV, my CV, and my connection between my connection with intellectual property rights and poverty. Now, I've had the privilege of listening to the chief guest's keynote address, and Professor Dasharath was raising very important questions, and these are the same questions that I thought of initially. So it is some kind of the preempting of another speaker. Inclusivity, IPR, the question of inclusivity in terms of how far are we willing to go in terms of ensuring that there is inclusivity in IPR, that the people who are poor are now included in these particular innovations and inventions. He raised also concerns concerning accessibility as well as affordability. Yes, we have these inventions, we have these innovations, we have the technologies in the health sector, in the agriculture sector, but are they accessible to the majority poor? Are they affordable by the majority poor? What is wrong then, and what are we supposed to do? From here, it is where my discussion is taking. I understand, and I do not want to take you back to the question as to what poverty is and what intellectual property rights encompasses. That I don't want to go back there, because I believe most of us here are very well conversant. We are all acquainted with the knowledge on these two. Poverty, it's a song that we've been singing for a very long time. Intellectual property right, it is a cause that is almost compulsory everywhere. For every lawyer, for every legal student, you find that you have to go through intellectual property rights. And so we have so many things there that we've grasped. Now, my very foremost remark that I intended to make was to remind each and every one of us that poverty everywhere, poverty anywhere, in many literature that I've read so far. And it makes sense. If there is anyone poor, any member of the human family, anywhere in a part of the globe, because poverty is a global issue. It is not something that is only for Indians, only for Tanzanians. Oh, no. It is something that is facing mankind. And we might be geographically positioned in different places, but we are all aiming at alleviating this particular problem that has lasted for a very long time. So if it is any member of a human family who is having this particular problem, then it means it is a threat everywhere in the world. Diseases, hunger and famine, which Professor has addressed, Professor Dasharath, the issues of ignorance, etc., etc. They are part of the factors that tell you that, yes, we have a problem somewhere. We have a problem that needs to be addressed if mankind is to progress anyhow. You find we have the majority poor people who are also in the rural areas, agriculture being dominant. It is the leading economic activity. That is no doubt. In most countries, you will find that agriculture is leading in terms of as an employer, because most of the people are farmers. The statistics will vary from one country to the other, but it will be between 75% up to 85%, and the rest will be from the other sectors. That is what you will see. You have the majority also who are poor and who are also working or constituting the world's most labor force in dangerous occupations, in construction, in the industry, manufacturing, in mining. You have so many people who are providing their labor, but are the dominant, the most dominant, the predominant poor. So you see poverty hitting most people, and it is like it is there to stay. No one is taking the serious measures. No one is considering overhauling the entire system so that we see, at least we have addressed to a certain extent the level of the gap that exists between the rich and the poor. But today, this is not something that we are addressing. Today, we are addressing intellectual property rights and poverty. So the question would be, are the intellectual property rights a name to poverty alleviation? If not a name at all, can IPR contribute to poverty alleviation? And if they can do so, what then is supposed to be done? For me, intellectual property rights, they keep emerging. They've been there since then. But poverty is also there alongside the way. So it means we've failed to exploit on the intellectual property rights in alleviating these particular problems relating to property. That is the first picture that you are getting, okay? Yes, we have IPR. We have patent which will ensure that we have good health. We have patent which will ensure that we have good harvest as farmers. We have patent which will ensure that mankind enjoys the life and even addressing the specific problems that are related to poverty alleviation. But what do we see today? A few important facts. I tried to list them down. One, you see in most hospitals today, patients are dying because of a failure to purchase medicine or to purchase or to pay for certain technologies. No one cares. It's either you pay or you die. So you see, we have intellectual property rights on one hand, and we have on the other hand, a poor person who is forced, because of the protections that exist over these inventions and innovation, this particular person is forced or is cornered to either pay. He has only one choice. He has two choices. You pay, the failure of which you go to the second choice. You expire. So we've seen patients who are dying, not because there are no medicines, not because there are no technologies to perform these particular procedures, but because these people cannot afford those technologies. I lived in Mysore, and I had a colleague who was sick. He's still there, but at least he's getting better these days. This person was forced to undergo a surgery for around 4 lakhs, a surgery of a hip replacement. Imagine 4 lakhs was the minimum then that he was supposed to pay for the surgery for a 5 days hospital service in one of the hospitals in India. How many can afford these kind of surgeries? That is the first question, and that is the same question that Professor Dasharath was raising. We have technologies, we have the development, we have the patents over these particular drugs, but who cares as to the affordability? Who cares as to these people, the poor people access? We have global policies at the global level. Yes, the UN is saying no poverty. But what measures is it taking to ensure that these particular people, the majority poor, there is a connection between whatever technologies and innovations that we are patenting or that we are coming up with and the Sustainable Development Goal. You have the IPR regime in one hand, and you have the Sustainable Development Goals on the other. It's like they do not coexist. Each is on its own. That is the foremost issue that I've observed for quite a long time. Global policies are made independent of very connected issues. People are not connecting these particular issues. That is number one. The second example, and which is a fact which I wanted also to introduce to you, is that, you see, in terms of famine or hunger, there are people who are not having even, they hustle to get a meal a day. But there are people who are having a meal a day, not that because they cannot cultivate, not that because they do not have farms. It's because they have
We'll go to the next one. Dr. Mathias? So we shall move to the third speaker. It is, I think, due to the technical issue from the speaker. I would like to request Ms. Sarah to introduce Dr. Upankar and followed by Sir's speech.
It is my honor to introduce an esteemed academician, legal scholar, and researcher, Dr. Upankar Chutia, currently serving as an assistant professor at the Alliance School of Law, Alliance University, Bangalore. Dr. Upankar holds a PhD in law from MIT University, Noida, specializing in folklore and IPR. He has also secured 2 patents, including one on AI-driven detection of psychological issues in inmates and another on electricity generation from wastewater treatment. Dr. Upankar has been recognized with multiple awards, including the Best Researcher Award 2022 and 2023 by Alliance University. He has edited several books, including A Way Forward to Social Legal Contemplation, Handbook on Biodiversity Protection in India, to name a few. A prolific writer and editor, he has contributed numerous...
Sarah, I hope you can hear me. I received a very noisy background because we have the Kilimanjaro International Marathon taking place in our university campus tomorrow. So I had to close the windows that you can hear me. Allow me to use the next 10 minutes or 5 minutes to finish my presentation. I hope you had a very noisy background.
So we were introducing Dr. Upankar because you have gone. Let's finish that one, then after that we'll call upon you back.
Okay.
Yeah, continue.
Dr. Upankar, a prolific writer and editor, he has contributed to numerous journals, conferences, and legal publications, and serves as an editor for leading law journals. His expertise extends to national and international paper presentations, faculty development programs, and organizing legal workshops. Dr. Upankar's dedication to legal research, education, and intellectual property law continues to inspire students and scholars alike. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Upankar Chutia.
Thank you, Sarah. But I think we shall hear Dr. Mathias first.
Yes, if Dr. Mathias is ready, you can complete your remaining speech. Then we'll follow by Dr. Upankar. So you may proceed because
I think there's a technical issue from his side.
Yes.
yes.
Thank you, Benjamin sir, for giving me this opportunity to be here. It was so great hearing Dasharath sir. You have been always inspiring people around, and today also you have inspired us a lot with your talks on various areas which normally we don't understand and we don't want to discuss about, because these are some gray areas where less publications and less research do happen, because only concern is economics, because we are not getting anything out of that, right? See, if we talk about poverty alleviations, because our main concern should be for the society as a whole, as Mathias and all the professors who have spoken has already talked about. Poverty is not a national problem; it's a global problem at large, and many steps have been taken up towards resolving these issues. Steps including from WIPO or WTO and many various other countries. Various experiences of countries has been taking place. But till date, why? The question is why it is not being resolved. What are the lacunas? What are the loopholes that are making us, or what are the stepping stones that are pulling us behind with this much of resources what we have in place? We have so much of patents, so much of trademarks, so much of geographical indications in the world at large. Why can't it help the community, the world as a community, or give a equal protection, or as Dasharath sir was talking about, inclusiveness? Why can't we at least safeguard the rights of all the people, irrespective to any nation, any state, or any territory at large? So these are bigger questions to answer, and the whole world community has been trying heads on towards discussing and deliberating on this. So with that, I would like to start my presentation. Is my slide visible? Is my slide visible?
Yes,
Yes, sir,
it
it
is
is
visible.
visible.
Yes,
Yeah,
wonderful.
please.
Okay. So going ahead with regard to the theme of the international webinar, with regard to role of intellectual property, with regard to poverty alleviation, uh, I would like to talk about how and why, or the main motive behind granting of any kind of IP at large. If you see various definitions of IP, IP says, or IP rights are being granted to authors, IP rights are being granted to the creators or innovators for the hard work they have put in, and they get economic commercial rights over that work or innovation for a limited period of time. That is the main definition. But originally, or if you look at etymologically, to look at how IP curation and how IP regulation has to be done, or if you look at the jurisprudence of IP is being created for the society as a whole. IP or any kind of innovations, any kind of creations, any kind of development that has happened, it should be done for the society as a whole. And the society or the innovators are just the mediators or the vectors towards bringing that change or the development. For that, for the hard work they have put in, they get the limited amount of right. At no place, at no incident, there should be any situation wherein the IP should be a stepping stone towards limiting the rights, or towards, or should be a stepping stone towards granting of equitable right to the masses, right? So today, if we look at a bigger concern, that is as our speakers were talking about the drugs, and different types of innovations that is to be disseminated to the masses. That has not happened. As Dr. Mathias was speaking about the amount of money they have to spend on the basic treatment. How and why are we facing at this date? Obviously, COVID has taught us very gray lessons to an extent that, or to an extent that how we have to regulate our society. The COVID has shown us how a society has to actually mitigate in a situations where a global concern is being created. Now, how and why at this point this kind of regulations is not being implemented? Is this the policy deficiency, or is the regulatory deficiency, or is it the executory deficiency? Now let me take you ahead on SDG 1. Basically, I will dive into SDG 1 in a larger scale, but let me talk about SDG, which talks about no poverty, which focuses on economic development, economic growth, social protection, equitable resources, and access. Okay. Now connecting it to IP and SDG with regard to economic growth. Yes, IP has been a vector towards, or it's an institution towards bringing economic growth. A good economy can always be considered where there is a good IP system. For example, many nations today could develop more because one incident, one concern, that is IP. Even China has been developing more because the number of IP it holds, right? Furthermore, with innovation and economic growth, our main concern or IP's concern is fair and equitable market share. If you look at various competitive or competition regime at large, IP is directly inclined towards it, wherein with IP or through IP, the market penetration as well as the market access could be guaranteed. Okay, whereby greater investment could be supported, which can also help in facilitating technology transfer, and also at a larger scale, or at a broader scale, we can say that it can promote inclusivity and fair competitive regime. Anyways, we are, all our speakers have already spoken about poverty. Poverty doesn't mean only the basic meeting the basic requirements. It also, as our key person, one of the key person, Syed Hasmi, has already pointed in his talk. He said that uh, poverty only doesn't mean, or poverty doesn't include only basic essentials. It also include essential infrastructures. It also include all the infrastructures that has to be, or that is to be adequate for the society at large to grow equitably, and to be inclusive of all, right? So if you talk about equitable infrastructure, that can only attain, or that can only happen with the right policies. Because if you talk right policies and right regulations at place, we always talk about SDG, different SDGs, and India has been a way forward going towards achieving the SDGs through in the normative of 2030, wherein there are I don't say lacunae, but there is a way or road towards it. This target of this SDG has been a greater, or had worked to a greater extent to a country, developing country like India. But there are many other countries in the world whereby, due to various lacunae, all the SDGs cannot be adhered. Now, how to look at SDGs and economics as well as IP? Now, SDG or IP, if you look at towards the intersection of IP and poverty alleviation, yes, IP to a greater extent can help economic opportunities. For example, if you see on my slide, there is a bigger circle which says that irrigation towards economic growth. As one of our speaker was talking about, the development can or happening of development if you give proper access or proper rights to the farmers at large. India being a farming oriented or farming driven country, if we can bring greater a greater technology or if you can bring a greater or better or a cheaper technology where irrigation of water can be provided to the masses, to the mass, to the places where there is famine and all those things. So that can always boost economic growth, which can also help in economic as well as poverty alleviation. Okay. Furthermore, if you look at IP intersections with regard to poverty alleviations, we cannot alienate the role of or responsibility towards local communities, wherein local communities are always to be protected, rights to be protected. Furthermore, if you talk about providing rights towards local community, as Dasharath sir was rightly mentioning, the Nagoya Protocol, or the whole regimes of CBD has been talking about access to benefit sharing, fair and equitable benefit sharing with regard to traditional knowledge and various other resources. If we can at least presume towards, or if you can goal towards achieving all those regimes, or we can leap at least 50% towards achieving those goals, that will suffice the purpose to a greater extent. Furthermore, talking about intersection of IP and poverty alleviation, wherein technology transfer would also mean a lot. Wherein, if you talk about technology transfer, cheaper technologies or at better technologies in a lesser rate, or a technology which is more accessible to the people or more affordable to the people, can be always a boost for the community at large, for the world at large, which will actually help the society to grow, and to a certain extent eliminate poverty to a greater extent. Furthermore, if you bring in more technology, if you bring in more investment, obviously the whole masses or the society will be at benefit. So already there have been a lot of talks in under WIPO with regard to poverty alleviation, towards granting of equitable rights, equitable, fair regulations over the globe. Wherein TRIPS has been working, wherein TRIPS under various provisions, it talks about providing rights to the developing and developed nations, or giving a standard of rights, or various kind of duties to rest on developing countries towards helping the developing nations or underdeveloped nations in giving in technology transfer, or helping them with technology. So these are some of the concerns, or initiatives that has been taken. Now let me talk about the challenges in IP and poverty alleviation. It is the cost. Now we are talking about reducing the price of patents. But if we could look at the amount of resources you have to spend on getting a patent granted, it would be very unfair for a normal person to at least apply for patent, because at least for application, it's not just application. There had to be a panel of advocates or panel of IP associates whom you have to approach and get the patents. Imagine if we are talking about poverty alleviation, or if we try to resell our handloom products through our own company's name, or through our society's name, to just register the trademark, it would cost in more than 20 or 30,000 rupees in normal sense. Now the affordability of that comes into play, wherein other than affordability, there are also various roadblocks, such as market entry, because bigger players are always at the bigger end towards promoting, towards advertising their resources. How would a local communities work would sustain in the market? To what extent the sustaination, or to what extent they will be in the righteous competitive spirit? So all these things are a questions to answer today. Furthermore, if you talk about traditional knowledge, which is again a talk of the town, wherein obviously everyone says traditional knowledge, folklores have to be protected. I myself being a researcher on folklore and indigenous knowledge, I have found out that we just include the word of protection of traditional knowledge without any regime at a global level, without a regime at national level. It is very difficult for us to protect or even take traditional knowledge in an economic scale, wherein we just have a system of TKTL, wherein which is obviously a good initiative, but to what extent? There had been a lot of traditional knowledge exploitation which has been happening. There has been how about the resources that has been, or what about the benefit sharing that has been shared by the companies to the state diversity board and all those things? Why are the local communities not being benefited out of it? Those are the bigger questions to answer, whereby uh, if you or if we actually think of elevation of uh, poverty, the world or the world or the whole society should work towards achieving it. It's not just individual, not just a company, not just a country. WIPO has been taking out different steps. There had been various ordinances, various committees decisions has been passed, or various experience of countries has been put out in the website of WIPO, whereby looking at those governance, even domestic legislations can be amended. So if we adhere to such regulations, obviously, to a greater extent, poverty can be alleviated, whereby mechanisms can always be there. Some of the mechanism is, if you can see in my slide, is towards helping in agriculture, wherein while talking about traditional knowledge and agriculture or farming rights, today we could see even in India, in such a developing stage, we could see a lot of farmer suicides because they cannot afford the amount of resources to be invested to grow a certain kind of plant or certain kind of crop in their field. It has been seen that all those prices has been hyped up because of the R&D that has been involved. And if you talk about R&D, even patent and all those rights are involved. How are we looking at? What kind of subsidies are you looking at? Even though there are lot many subsidies in place, why are we still not or why we till date we are not able to help the small scale farmers? So these are bigger questions to answer again, which can be only answered by the policies, and if we can ensure a free market. Okay, now talking about healthcare, as our previous speakers were talking about, innovations are there. It's not that innovations are not there. Innovations are there, and facilities to or facilitating system to innovations are there. There have been many steps towards bringing what you say, bringing technology to India. There have been various steps towards a technology transfer, but there had been in between, there had been lot of disruptions, lot of irregularities which had created or which had been creating a loophole towards towards giving out the full potential of IP in healthcare sector. Because IP, if you talk about the healthcare, comes the epitome part, because most of the drugs and most of the resources are all backed by IPs. Obviously, if you talk about generic resources, yes, those are there. But to a greater extent, even if you talk about, as Sir was mentioning, the amount of or the whole costing of that person to get its healthcare was so exponential that it becomes unaffordable, right? Again, in technologies, yes, the world has been trying for a sustainable greener technology. Yes, greener technologies are there, but if this greener technology can be disseminated to the society at large, wherein the underprivileged part of the society can also get developed by those technologies. For example, job creation. For example, if it enhances various public services, that would also give a fair, equitable market. Okay. Furthermore, as I was talking about empowering local communities, yes, IP actually helps local communities towards a greater extent through GI, through traditional knowledge protection, which is backed by State Biological Diversity Authority, which is backed by National Biological Diversity Authority, which is again backed by Biological Diversity Act in India. Yes, all those regimes are there. Only concern here is the execution. If we can look at a better execution of resources, yes, poverty can be alleviated to a greater extent. Now, some more challenges, if you talk about here, is awareness, awareness among people about the technology, awareness of the people in the masses, awareness of the people who are documenting or who are in the policy making. Oh, furthermore, if you talk about another challenge is limited access to IP protection, whereby, as I was talking about, just for registering or just for applying for registry of patent, it would cost so much. So thereby affordability of even the access towards IP protection is again a concern. Okay. Furthermore, I have been speaking about enforcement issue. These enforcement issues are always there, but with the government will and with the government initiative, yes, we can actually have a better penetration of IP in India. Yes, in India today we have been it is seen that lot of government initiatives has been taken, as Dasharath sir was mentioning about Startup India, right, which helps the startups to grow or to apply for patent. Yes, because of the lack of awareness, because lack of resources towards bringing awareness, those has been a problem. Furthermore, if you look at policy framework, yes, TRIPS is there. WIPO, I was talking about developmental agendas are there. Again, national strategies. Yes, we have strategies in India called Startup India, Farmers' Right, various agendas, various strategies on farmers' rights are there. Yes, it is it is there, but we need to refine it. We need to relook at where there is a problem. Yes, that's how we can bring inclusiveness for the whole of the society, right? With that, I would like to conclude my talk on poverty alleviation. I hope my talk had created some, if it can create some awareness on poverty alleviation and SDG, that would suffice the purpose. And I would once again thank you, Benjamin sir, for giving me this opportunity. Again, Dasharath sir, Dr. Mathias, again, uh, wholeheartedly, I would like to thank Mr. Hasmi for inviting me, for coordinating and organizing such a beautiful event, because this is one such event wherein this kind of influential talk or talk for the society could happen. And if this kind of, I would like to also request Benjamin sir to organize such kind of events very regularly, so that the society gets aware, the society know where are we lagging. And it is not only India, as poverty is a global issue. Let the whole world contribute towards it, as in WIPO, many African countries has been giving out experiences. Even we India, we would also, or the University of Mysore can also take an initiative towards giving the world an idea or the experiences, where are we lagging on this regard. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your comprehensive insight to the topic, starting from the folklore to the health sector and to financial inclusion, even to the IP awareness, which is another area to be explored. Now we come to the end of this session. I would like to request Professor M.S. Benjamin, Chairman, Dean Faculty of Law, Department of Studies in Law, University of Mysore, to deliver the presentation that was set over to you.
Good afternoon, my esteemed colleague and the chief guest of the program, Professor N. Dasharath, former Dean, Chairman, Faculty of Law, Bangalore University, currently serving as Principal, University College of Law, Bangalore, distinguished speakers, Dr. Mathias S, Nkuhi, Head of the Department of Law, Nkuhi Cooperative University, Tanzania, Dr. Upankar, Associate Professor, Alliance School of Law, Alliance University, Bangalore, dear participants, members of organizing team, Mr. Syed Qudrath Hasmi, research scholar, the Department of Law, Sarah MB, student of LLM, the ladies and gentlemen. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the presidential address on the occasion of an international webinar on the role of intellectual property rights and property alleviation, organized by the Department of Law, University of Mysore. All speakers, Professor N. Dasharath, Dr. Mathias, Dr. Upankar, focus on two important themes. One is the significance of intellectual property rights in terms of how it contributes to our sustainable development, economic growth, and foster socio-economic conditions of marginalized sections of the society. Secondly, the eradication of poverty. Poverty is still a challenging issue of the present world. In recent years, we have witnessed tremendous economic growth, advancement of science and technology, research and development. In 2023, India launched successfully Chandrayaan 3 to conduct experiment on the moon. Yet, millions of people in India and across the world live below the poverty line. Lacks of access to basic facilities like food, shelter and clothing, quality education, and affordable health care. As Qudrath put it in the introduction itself, according to World Bank report of 2024, 8.5% of the global population, almost 700 million people, live today on less than $2.15 per person per day. Extreme poverty exists in low-income countries, that is, third world countries. Three-fourths of the population who live in extreme poverty are the people of African countries. Where on poverty line or income level, you can classify countries into three categories: high-income countries, middle-income countries, and low-income countries. As regards India is concerned, as of November 2024, about 60% of India population, that is around 1.3 billion people, live on less than $3.10 per person per day. 21%, that is more than 250 million people survive on less than $2 per day. Today, richest 10% of people of India controls 80% of the country's wealth. According to the survey conducted by Oxfam, an international agency fighting poverty, the top 1% owns 58% of India's wealth, whereas in US, 1% of rich people owns 37% of the wealth. We still come across with instances of starvation, death, hunger, malnutrition, discrimination, inequality in status, inhuman conditions for living, and shelterless people because of poverty. Now, the more point is how to emancipate or deliver people from hunger or poverty, or how to eradicate the poverty. What mechanisms or tools are available to improve socio-economic conditions of the poor people in the country? I tell you, one of the means and ways is intellectual the property rights, such as patents, copyrights, trademarks, or trade secrets, and industrial designs. Intellectual property rights create, as observed by Dr. Upankar, intellectual property rights create opportunities for the creator or innovators to commercialize their work. They can market it globally, attract the inflow of capital from the abroad, generate employment opportunities, promote social development of the individuals, and thereby IPR contributes for eradication of poverty. Intellectual property plays very significant role in poverty eradication by encouraging innovation, promoting economic growth, facilitating access to the new technologies. I believe that this type of academic discourse provides a platform to debate how best you can use IPR as a tool for property eradication. I hope you will have a meaningful discussion, and the participants will try to find out the innovative solution to bridge the gap that exists between IPR and poverty. Thank you, Professor N. Dasharath sir, the chief guest of the program, Dr. Mathias, the guest of honor, Dr. Upankar Chutia, the keynote speaker, and all participants. I thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So much. We come to the end of this formal inaugural proceedings. Now we shall proceed with our presentations. So we request our esteemed dignitaries, you may leave because the time may continue till 6. Then it will be followed by vote of thanks at the end of the second session. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much that you have joined us.
Thank you.
Dr. Professor Dasharath N.
Thank you, Professor.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and I wish you a very great day ahead. It was nice interacting with you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I'm professor
Yes, he's a professor.
in India.
Yeah.
So we shall start with our presentation. The first presenters would be Mr. Ashray Chakraborty. Are you there?
Yes, sir. So a very warm afternoon
So
to
let's
the
begin.
esteemed
Where
chair,
is
respected
begin with
guests.
your teacher? Your author. Where is he?
So
Yes, both of you should be there. Did he join?
he has joined.
Okay. So you have 10 minutes from now. 5 minutes each.
Right, sir.
Yes.
So I would be presenting the whole paper, sir.
This is a joint paper.
Right. So
There should
can
be
I
a joint
begin?
presentation. I have informed you yesterday the same thing. Yeah, I have informed you, right?
So can I begin?
No, I cannot violate that.
Sorry, sir.
We are presenting on IPR.
Right, sir. Yes.
Yes. So then both of you should present the paper. So you have each one of you 5 minutes. Please proceed with your 5 minutes. Then it followed by your author. The same thing goes with every presenters. Yes. You might.
All right, sir.
Your time starts.
Sir, Asha sir is in the meeting.
If it's in the meeting, then you present your 5 minutes and you can complete. So without further ado, till you bring him, I will be going for the second presenter, Miss Priyanka. See. The topic title from the seats to the usurper. Yes. A student from University Law College, Bangalore. She will be presenting on the topic on the intersection of IPR and agricultural development, how intellectual property rights can empower farming communities. Ma'am, proceed. You have 10 minutes from now. Your time starts by 4.
Namaste everyone. I am
Yes,
Priyanka
and,
Casey. I'm from University Law
so
College,
to make
Bangalore
corrections,
University.
Okay, to make corrections, you said that farming communities, it should be very clear. Farming communities where? You can proceed with your presentation, but the farming communities, you should be clear with the title. Okay.
So today I'll be presenting on the topic Unlocking Agricultural Potential Through Intellectual Property Rights in the Fight Against Poverty and Hunger. So despite of having unprecedented advancements in agricultural technology, globalization, still the field of food insecurity continues to haunt the entire world. So in the year 2024, according to the Global Hunger Index, India had a score of 27.3. So this score represents that the level of hunger in India is serious. So in the same year, 2024, India ranked 126 out of 147 countries on Global Multidimensional Poverty Index. So this was a drop from 125th place in 2023. So these figures, it represents that millions of individuals and families are trapped in the cycle of poverty and malnutrition. So the burden of this crisis, it falls on the small farm holders in the poverty-stricken regions. So these farmers, the very backbone of our global food system, often lack the access to the improvised seeds, efficient technology, and the fair market opportunities, which is necessary to break from the poverty and to feed their communities. So through this presentation, we will learn how strategically leveraging of the intellectual property rights can act as a catalyst to improve agricultural productivity, enhance food security, and to eradication of the poverty in these vulnerable areas. So we'll have a little brief about what intellectual property rights are. So intellectual property rights are those exclusive rights which are given to the creators or the inventors. So in relation to the agriculture, it helps farmers, inventors, and the local communities to protect their ideas, inventions, and the products. So it encourages them to make new varieties, to protect the traditional knowledge, and to make money because of their hard work, ensuring fairness that and also preventing exploitation. So we'll be discussing about the different type of IPR in agriculture. We have patents. So patents are the right of ownership which is given for new invention. So in the drought prone areas, if somebody develops seeds which are resistant to these droughts, so that can get patented and it can be given to the farmers for the cultivation, which in turn increases the agricultural productivity. We have plant breeders rights and farmers rights. So these are the rights which are given to the new type of plant of mangoes that can grow even in dry weather. Then we have trademarks. So trademarks are like logos and brand names which help to recognize these products. So farmers can get fair price for their products. It also helps to build trust with the customers. Then we have geographical indications. So these are the special labels for the products which come from particular area because of the unique quality. So we have Darjeeling tea, which comes from Darjeeling. We have Mysore silk sarees coming from Mysore, and Mysore Pak, the famous Mysore Pak. And also under this IPR, we have the concept of biopiracy. So biopiracy happens when somebody takes advantages of the traditional knowledge from the local community and uses it to create something valuable which does not, and they do not share any profit with the community. So, through IPR, these local communities are protected, and we have very famous cases of turmeric case, a neem case, a basmati case. These under these protections are given. So now we'll look at the role of IPR in agriculture. Agriculture plays a very crucial role in providing food and livelihood. So there are various challenges which are faced in agriculture. The very first problem that the farmers in these poverty-stricken areas face are poor soil quality. So because the farmers keep producing the same kind of crop every year without getting the soil tested, so the soil will lack all the essential nutrients which is needed for healthy crop to be grown. So the poor soil quality, which in turn leads to the low yields, which means that the farmers can't produce enough to feed their families or to sell in the market. Also, there is unpredictable weather conditions because of the climate change and also extreme dependency on the rainfall. So because of these droughts or floods, or these because of these unexpected storms or the lack of rainfall, farming becomes very riskier. And also because of lack of irrigation facilities, either they do not have access to reliable agricultural system, or the over dependency on the rainfall, it also hinders their farming. And also pests, diseases which tend to destroy their crops either because of the negligence to better pest control methods, or because of the absence of the effective pest control methods, which the crops get destroyed severely. So these can be reduced, and which will actually lead to the financial loss of the farmers. So these challenges are interconnected. So when the crop yields are low and the farmers don't earn enough to invest in their better tools, be it seeds or technologies, this creates a cycle of poverty where farmers remain stuck, unable to improve their productivity or the quality of life. So now we'll see how IPR can be used as a solution or a catalyst to combat this hunger and poverty. So IPR plays a very important role in breaking this cycle of poverty and hunger. So first, it provides framework for the protection of this new agricultural invention. I spoke about the drought-resistant seeds and also high-yielding crops. So by granting patents, trademarks, and other protections, so IPR makes sure that these technologies are protected and safeguarded from any theft or misuse, and it encourages innovations. So by giving proper protection, the investors and researchers can invest more time, more money in this research of this in developing these new agricultural technologies, and they can share it with the farmers. So now the farmers can make better use of these technologies to create good crops, and they can use these modern farming technologies, which in turn improve their productivity. And also by making this innovation accessible to all, by doing so by through licensing agreements to partnerships, so farmers will have access to these advanced technology at much affordable rate. And then the new innovations, be it in pest control, irrigation method, or crop varieties, it can improve the food production, which makes farmers to grow more food even in the challenging conditions, so which helps them to get higher income and improved food security, which ultimately leads to the reduction in the poverty. So we can take the example of bt cotton in India. So bt cotton is a genetically modified crop which was developed to resist the pests like cotton bollworm. So the cotton plants, which are engineered with a gene from the bacteria bacillus thuringiensis, it produces a harmful toxin which is harmful for the pest, but it is safe for the human beings. So this innovation, it is patented under Patents Act 1970. So by planting this bt cotton, farmers no longer have to spray those harmful pesticides, and the crops become naturally resistant to the pests, which leads to higher yields and low production costs. So the farmers get better benefits from the cotton harvest, and also this is environmentally sound as well. So there are other various solutions or the advantages of IPR. I already mentioned about the new access to the new technology, also for the promotion of a fair market competition, and it also attracts investment both at the national and international level, and also it promotes sustainable agriculture. It protects traditional knowledge against biopiracy. It improves food security. So now we'll see the strategies which can help to maximize these IPR benefits. First is educating the farmers. So there are various schemes under the which has been launched by the central government and state governments. So if the farmers are made aware of this, if they are educated, if they are trained enough about all these, so that the farmers can have better access to these tools, they can make better utilization and improve the agriculture production, and all these poverty, hunger, everything can be solved. So we have various schemes here. So Dr. Dasharath sir talked about the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme, where Under this scheme, annually 6,000 rupees is given for farmers in 3 monthly installments as 2,000 rupees like in 3 installments. And we have various other schemes, be it PM Kisan Man Dhan Yojana. Here, the scheme was launched on 12th September 2019. So it provides security to the most vulnerable farming families. So the applications here, they can be made from the age of 18 to 40 years. So after 60 years, they can get a pension of 3,000 rupees every month. So that and here more than 23 lakhs families have been enrolled and they are getting benefit of this. So we also have for the problem of irrigation. So we have various schemes like per drop more crop scheme, which was introduced in 2015, and we also have rain fed area development scheme, which was launched in 2014. So these provide for integrated farming and also for the better like drip and sprinkle irrigation system, which will be effective for the farmers to grow their farms effectively, even in the areas, even in the drought prone areas. And also we have micro irrigation fund and various other schemes are there. We even have soil health card for the farmers to check the quality of their soil, so that they can improve, they can build on the field, and also they can improve the soil quality. So there are many people, 5,000 crores have been invested by the government. So the farmers, by making sure that they have the proper awareness of all this. So actually we can take the example of students who are studying in the agricultural department. We have GKVK college. So the agricultural students who are studying, they can be actually made a part of all these programs. We can take the help of them to spread awareness. We can actually have workshops for the farmers to be educated here. And also we have a promotion and transfer of technology. So there are various good technologies which are used by the developed countries. So if that is feasible in India as well, we can actually transfer those technology, and we can make sure that those technologies are brought in to India as well. So it makes sure that the cultivation here is boosted. So all these problems of poverty, hunger, everything will be eradicated. And also we should start investing more in agriculture research and development. And also we have the Nagoya protocol, which ensures for the local community to get better benefit of, because of the use of their genetic resources. We have to follow all this, and then we can seek for international cooperation from WIPO, FAO, all this. And then we can also we have to also emphasize on the role of global governance here. So one of the keynote speakers mentioned about the sustainable developmental goals. So these were adopted by the United Nations in 2015. So these have 17 global goals, out of which the very first and the second sustainable developmental goal talks about ending of poverty and zero hunger, to end poverty in any forms everywhere, and also to end hunger, achieve global food security, to improve nutrition, and also to promote sustainable agriculture. So we have to make sure that the farmers are aware about all this.
Priyanka, your presentation is about over. Okay. Let me ask you some questions. You have mentioned about, see, your title talks about agriculture, IPR potential.